I really believe if you cultivate a positive attitude towards anything and everything, and you put like your concentration in everything that you do, take every opportunity that you have and do the best that you can at any point of time, then things starts to like get into your favor all the time.
That was Mathieu Boldron, and I'm Henry Winslow. You're listening to Dharma Talk. Dharma Talkers, hello, and thank you for tuning in to the show. On Dharma Talk, I interview yogis I admire about their path and their purpose in this life. And as most of you who've put in some time on this earth know, that path tends to take some unexpected twists and turns. Sometimes the unexpected changes in our life can totally shake our identity. And yet those moments are our greatest lessons and our greatest blessings. My guest this week is a prime example of that. But first, if you're listening to the show, if you've been listening for some time and you haven't subscribed yet, please do me a favor and subscribe to Dharma Talk. It takes 5 seconds and it really makes a big difference. And also it helps you because it makes sure that you get delivered a fresh new episode every Thursday. Also, if you've been listening to the show and you enjoy it, take a minute and leave a rating and review. It's very helpful for the algorithm and making sure that others know that they should check out the episode, check out the show too. And lastly, if you have the financial means to contribute, please consider making a donation to support Dharma Talk. You can always do that at henrywins.com/donate. As usual, I have a few announcements to share with you. In November, I'm moving out of New York. So for the New York yogis in the audience or anyone passing through in October, I'd love to come see you for the last hurrah. On October 26th and 27th, I'm doing a workshop on Saturday and Sunday at Living Yoga in Queens, backbending and handstanding. And then November 3rd, I'm doing a handstand training workshop at my home school of Lighthouse Yoga School. After that, maybe we can sync up travel schedules. But for those workshops in New York, head over to henrywins.com/events and sign up there. Yogis, if you are looking for the perfect way to wrap up 2019 and lay a golden foundation for a beautiful 2020 to come, then please join me and my wife, Veronica Lambo, for our 7-day retreat to Bali. We're calling it Divine Connection because that's our vision for this retreat, that you'll be able to take the time to step away from your typical environment, step away from your social conditioning and your responsibilities, and get honed into the divine light within you. And how do we hope to achieve that? Well, every morning is going to begin with noble silence. This is prime time for self-reflection, self-inquiry, and inner work. Also, we will have a group meditation every day and 2 yoga classes, one more rigorous vinyasa class and one more restorative hatha class. We're going to take care of all the food for you. You'll be provided 3 vegan, plant-based, and refined sugar-free meals a day. And we've also got some exciting adventures and excursions lined up, all included. Basically, we have an amazing experience lined up for you, something totally transformative and empowering. You just have to get yourself to Bali and then we'll take you through the rest. If this sounds appealing, please head over to henrywins.com/Bali and you can find all the details there. Now allow me to introduce my guest for this week. Mathieu Boldron at Mathieu Boldron Yoga. That's MATHIEU BOLDRON Yoga on Instagram, is a traveling yogi and community builder who teaches yoga teacher trainings and continuing education programs around the world. He discovered yoga while pursuing a career in musical theater and later turned his full attention to the practice as a means for healing after exhausting his vocal cords. Now he is co-owner of Lomi Yoga School, a yoga studio in Paris that applies modern techniques to ancient yoga. I loved having this conversation with Mathieu, and I think that you're really going to enjoy listening to it too. Mathieu just has this very vibrant, colorful personality, and it's obvious that he would be successful as a musical theater player. And we get into his background. He talks about his time touring around as a player in the musical adaptation of Lion King, and then takes us to the heartbreaking episode where he suffered career-ending vocal cord trauma. This is what I'm talking about when I say that these twists and turns in our lives are unexpected and shake us to the core of our identity. Mathieu loved singing, loved performing, and it was his career and passion. But the beauty of it all is it was this heartbreaking moment that led him to yoga. So he shares with us what it was that got him back into his heart, back onto 2 feet. And it was healing through pranayama and backbends. Now Mathieu finds joy in sharing that healing with others, and he has actually integrated his whole history into his teaching by sharing that musicality through mantras and chanting and pranayama and singing in his workshops and teaching worldwide. So if this conversation resonates with you, please head over to dharmatalk.show and type Mathieu in the search bar, Mathieu. And you'll find all the notes and links for this episode, including Mathieu's recommended book and his upcoming events. And one reminder, I've got a running list of every book ever recommended on Dharma Talk. So if you're looking for a new book to read, head over to henrywins.com/books and pick one out. Now, without further ado, please enjoy my interview with Mathieu Boldron. Mathieu, welcome to the show. So happy to connect with you today.
Thank you so much, Henry, for inviting me.
Of course. And, I appreciate you dialing in from Paris at 9:30 p.m. That's one of the beauties of doing these virtual conversations is I can talk to someone on the other side of the world, but sometimes it doesn't mean it's the most convenient time. So I appreciate you doing that. And I look forward to diving into it with you.
I'm very excited about it.
Well, we always start with the same first question. So I'm going to give you that question now. Okay. What does the word Dharma mean to you? And what is your Dharma as you understand it today?
Wow. Okay. So for me, Dharma means basically listening to the heart. When I hear you asking me that question, the first thing I think of is like when I started practicing yoga, it was in a time when I was still an artist. I was still on stage. And actually, it was a moment of my life that was amazing, very light, with lots of like great lights and great moments, high vibrations, and also like a very strong moment of darkness, moments where I was actually suffering from not understanding really what was my purpose. So like singing was a way for me to find purpose, but I was not really understanding why I needed to sing and be on stage at that time. And the yoga actually helped me to find more purpose. So to me, Dharma means really like the purpose of the heart. It's following the heart. When you start to tune fully with it, then I feel you understand that word better.
I see. That is a beautiful way to put it. The purpose of the heart. And yoga has helped you to find yours. So you said that when you were a musician or when you were an artist, you were able to serve your purpose to an extent, but something was disconnected. Talk to me a little bit about that. How did you get into musicianship, and how did your journey transpire to take you from being a performing artist into being a yoga teacher?
So actually, I started musical. It's about now probably like 15 years ago, something like that. And I started with a musical school. So I play guitar, but mostly my thing was the singing, was the acting, dancing a little bit. But I just end up in Lion King, the musical, the Broadway musical in Paris that I played for like 3 years. And then I traveled the world doing some other musicals for Disney Theatrical and Sister Act, and playing in English, in German, in different languages. It was incredible. And then the yoga started to come at the age of 21 when I was on stage in the Lion King. So tell me the question again. I forgot.
Well, when you were performing, doing all of these shows, something was missing. You know, you said that you weren't fully living from the
something
heart.
was missing.
What was that? And
Yeah,
how did you know?
Definitely. You know what? It's funny because I always wanted to be a singer. So but it's something that in France was not really recognized as a true job. So I had really to to kind of force myself at one point to recognize, okay, this is what I want to do. So I should start get into more music. And I was studying science at that time, so it was completely different to like make that choice. And then when I made that choice, I thought, that's the purpose. I find my thing. That's my thing. And after after a few years working for Disney and some other shows, I actually started to feel something very strong in me was missing. I could feel on stage, I could communicate to people like joy or emotions. It could be sadness, it could be love. I could make people feel, but I didn't know that I could find something else in my life, like yoga, maybe that's what happened after, that could make people feel even more. And I think that's, like, for me, that's what created suffering when I was on stage, is that I was not fully understanding why I was doing that.
This is very interesting. Do you think that the lack of depth, or the potential for more depth in the way that you are conveying emotion or inspiring emotion in your audience, and then eventually your students as a yoga teacher, do you think that's something that is inherent to the art of theatrical performance? Or do you think it was a depth that was missing because you specifically, your heart was not fully invested in that type of career or that type of service, and that only reaching that depth was possible through yoga because you were meant to go do yoga?
I actually feel that lots of artists actually go towards music or towards dance because they're looking for more freedom, for a way to communicate emotion to the people around them. But the difficulty is that every time you're doing some kind of artistic thing, it becomes very fast a performance. It's all about pleasing people. And for me, working as a singer was a way to communicate emotions and making people feel, but that I was not really understanding that I was not giving to people actually myself fully. I always had to play character, or I always had to hide behind a melody that I had not written, or even the words I was sharing were not actually coming from me. So when we teach, I think, yoga, or when we chant, for example, when Bhakti yoga, when you start to chant, it's not about the performance, it's not about hiding behind something. It's very, very truthful, and then if it's not perfect, nobody cares. And that's, I think, a dimension that was missing in my career as an artist. And I think for lots of artists, the fact that they always have this judgment, this suspended judgment that we have in yoga is missing, in the artistic world. There is always a judgment. It's always about pleasing, liking. So this ego is present, and it's like a prison.
Right. That is so beautifully put. And I can totally see the contrast that revealed itself to you between your performing career and then this new opportunity of practicing yoga. So then after at that point, presumably you got into your yoga practice and at a certain point realized, okay, I want to switch over and dedicate myself to this and share the practice with others. When you decided to become a yoga teacher, how did you manage to keep the performance aspect out of it?
Oh, well, yeah, it's a good question. In fact, at that time, actually, I started to teach yoga. I didn't want to sing anymore. The doctors, I sang on a tour, and the doctor at one point, I was sick, and I kept pushing my body. I pushed the body a lot for like 10 years, like playing 8-9 shows a week sometimes singing upside down, doing crazy stuff for like different shows and actually.
Okay, hold on. I have to interrupt you for a second.
Yeah.
Which character were you in Lion King?
Oh, in Lion King, I was a swing. So I played Simba. I played all like male characters in the show. And also like within that slot of like about 10 years, I played also like in like some other musicals, like in Germany, like Tarzan, like where I would sing upside down and do
Okay,
like
that's how you got upside down.
crazy
That's what I was wondering.
stuff. Yeah. but yeah, the voice, my voice was like, I could sing very low or very high. Had like a pretty good range, and of course they used it because that's it's fun. Like the more you can, the more you can do things, the more people ask you to do things, until like you kind of burn yourself. It's like producing. Like you do 1 show, 2 shows is fun, 3 shows is nice, but after a while, it's like making the same products. So at one point, the body gets tired, and for me, it was my voice. My voice like got very tired, and actually, at some point, the doctor told me on a tour where I was like coughing blood, and I would keep pushing and singing, and the doctor told me, "You're sick, and your voice is not gonna handle that if you don't stop." And I kept going, and actually I could not sing anymore, speak after that for a very, very long time, and the doctors told me, "You will never sing again." So I had to, when I started teaching yoga, for me it was not about performance, because it was really like yoga was a therapy to heal my voice, my instrument. And that was the first thing I wanted to share with people. It was like share something that heals, but is not about performing.
How did you heal your voice with yoga?
I actually used backbends, upright exercise, and pranayama, breathing. Yeah, those combined are incredible. There is this teacher in France. He's in the middle of nowhere. He's called Jean-Pierre Blivet. Jean-Pierre Blivet, very, very French name actually. And he has a book called Les Voix du Chant, which is a book he wrote after working with Nathalie Dosset, who was one of the most incredible sopran in the world. And I had the chance to meet that man, and he, in his house in the middle of nowhere in France, he actually took like care of my voice every day, like for an hour and a half, and then the rest of the day I would basically have nothing to do. So it was like a retreat. It was really incredible. And so I would spend my entire day practicing breathing, practicing backbending, and using his exercise to project my voice as I would do like Ustrasana, camel pose, or like some other chest and throat openers. And that actually incredibly like started to work. And after that, after spending about a month there with him working, I came back to singing, and I could sing again. My voice was different, but I could again like speak correctly, because even my voice would crack. in when I would speak, and I could even sing again. So I went back after that. I played Sister Act, the musical, for like a year and a half, and then I decided to quit because I was like, okay, I can sing again, but that's not my thing performing anymore. I just want to chant mantras and share and share asanas. It's way easier.
Yeah. So you kind of like went back. You went back to Sister Act just to kind of like to prove to yourself that you could do it again. But then once you had that,
Totally.
it's like, okay, I can move on. I can move on to the next chapter now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's wild. About the backbending pranayama as a therapy specifically for the voice. I've never heard of anything like that. But then again, I don't know too many people who have injured their voice box in the way that you did through, such professional exhaustion.
Yeah, I'm sure it would help lots of artists, because lots of performers have problem with their voice, even with their confidence and even with their body. I really feel, since I really dived into the yoga practice, it made me feel so good about like being inside my body. And I believe like a true actor or somebody that plays on stage is actually the best actors are the one that like really become the what they play. So basically that's yoga. If we think about it, they're just fully present in the character, and because they're fully present, there is no past, no future, no thought, no judgment. They're just like they're just there at the moment. I think really like the yoga practice actually is very 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 similar to the what we call for some sports people flow moment, or the flow state, for an actor, or
Yes.
for a tennis player, whatever. It's the same moment. This is what we're looking for, the present moment.
Absolutely. I've made the same comparison many times. I think it's so true. It's spot on. Mathieu, at this point now, now that your singing career and your performing career is mostly behind you, I know that you integrate a bit of your singing into the way that you teach. So you've held on to that relic and been able to share that passion. But what does your personal yoga practice look like now, now that you're past the point of that healing, that acute healing?
It's actually constantly changing and transforming. So I used to practice a lot of so when I started actually practicing yoga, I started with Bikram. And then after Bikram, I did Ashtanga Vinyasa. So I went like full on fire. And then at some point I injured myself. Like I guess a lot of people that are going too much into the fire. And then I went to more Vinyasa, but then I would still be passionate about the Ashtanga. And then it was more Hatha, and then more Yin. And I started to use all the different types of yoga that I could find, and dive into those different ways of like seeing this practice. When I was a singer, something very interesting was happening, is that whenever I would sing with, I had this classical teacher, Jean-Pierre Blivet. With him, he would say like, never sing gospel or modern stuff if you're doing classical. And then I had this other teacher that I would be fascinated about, like who was more modern, and he would do more gospel. And so for me, the mix of both was the key to evolve, to grow. And in the yoga, lots of schools sometimes like are saying, no, do this that way or do that way. And for me, I really like to go to all the different styles and check to actually create my own style. So today, my practice is actually a lots of Kriya, pranayama, and I'm using a lots of movement. So actually, I'm very I was following the Ido Portal program because I really like all the movement stuff that are happening, and and yeah, and I will do like maybe twice, 3 times a week, like a really long flow for myself. But otherwise, I would just work on specific drills, specific ways of moving, and I'm really trying to cultivate the mind of a beginner all the time. So everything that doesn't work makes me feel like I'm struggling. I believe there's something to learn about it. So I usually just stay with it and work longer with those stuff.
Well, that's definitely a good way to cultivate the mind of a beginner, to constantly be exposing yourself to different styles that other people are experts in, and you are in fact a beginner. What's the deal with the Ido Portal method? I know that that's becoming more and more popular within the yoga community. What's the background on that? Just give our listeners a little bit of a primer, and then explain how you've integrated that, how you've woven it into yoga practice.
So basically, the movement culture that is growing all around the world is really about like integrating everything that is possible to make you feel like a beginner. And so we use in this method is using like stuff that are coming from parkour, stuff that are coming from gymnastics, isolations, like waving the body, using like really lots of like different different skills like weights and stuff like that. I was really like at some point really only hatha, but I started to notice as well that my body at some places was getting weaker. So in yoga, for example, we work a lot, like the tricep, for example, in every like practices, the tricep is very dominant. So for example, if you work with weight, it's very easy to strengthen the bicep. Or if you work with yoga only, you're constantly pushing. So having this pulling motion as well is super healthy for the shoulder. Having the elevation of the shoulder, working with like the back muscles, like doing like active arch hangs and stuff like that, are very wonderful to heal the back and cultivate very good balance. So I find like sometimes by going into the extremes in the poses, where I mean, it's super nice and beautiful, but it's not always the way to stabilize the body very well. So like we often say, jack of all tools, but master of none. In fact, I think really some people are very talented at being like very good at different things without being like the best at all these things. But being interested in all those stuff, I really feel that for me, it makes me grow so much.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think that even if you don't decide to pursue all of the things that you expose yourself to, at least you've exposed yourself to be able to make a decision about whether or not you want to, rather than just being ignorant to it.
Yes, totally.
So let's talk about a few of the things that you have coming up in the future. I know that you are taking the initiative to arrange a conference in Paris where your studio is located. What has that been like? First of all, what is your vision for this yoga conference? And secondly, what has been the journey of pulling something like that, a big project like that, together?
So I've been thinking about that for a very long time. This Paris Yoga Conference, and it's just that I see, like, I mean, I was born in Paris, and nobody in my family was practicing yoga, but the way yoga completely like transformed my life and like transformed even my family, because my sister now is practicing. I mean, my partner in life, she's a yoga teacher. It's wonderful, and what I see is that in the big cities we're so disconnected. We have like, I mean, everything is separating us from the earth. Like, even, I mean, we are constantly disconnected, and that, I think, the first step for us to reconnect is can be, of course, to go into nature, to do those kind of, it's beautiful, but it's also just getting together. And in all my classes all around the world, I think that's what makes my teaching popular around the world and in the places where I go, is that it's all about the community, and it's all about working together. I really believe when people get together, it's so powerful. There is so much strength in like touching other people, in being like in contact, in having conversation, looking into the eyes, supporting one another. And so my classes always looked like that, but every time I would take a lot of classes, not only in Paris but all around the world, like it's not often that people work together. Sometimes the practice should be like a personal practice, but I think during a class is a great opportunity to really connect with people. We speak often about like the meaning of yoga being like, okay, union, coherence, integration, but isn't it integration also of ourselves inside the society and the city and the groups of people that are living around us? So to me, this conference is all about that, is getting like teachers to teach to like a group of like people coming from all over the world, something that is just an excuse to spend time together.
I think that's as good a reason as any to pull together something like this. Community is so powerful and so healing in a way. So because of that, it's a perfect complement to the practice itself, which can be done in isolation.
Totally. Yeah, totally. Yeah. I mean, doing it in isolation is wonderful. But yeah, when you have to deal with people around you, when you live in the city, that's where like true yoga is most of the time. Like, I mean, it's very easy if everything is quiet all around to like be a yogi. But
yeah,
when you live in the city, when you're in New York City, when you're in Paris, that's like, you take the metro, you have like responsibilities, people, stuff, and everything is happening, and sometimes you feel you're in a hamster wheel. So how do you connect with people? How can you like maintain balance within that? I think this kind of event, like the Paris Yoga Conference, they should multiply all around the world. I think it's very good, like possibilities and opportunities for people to discover ways so they can focus their mind as well. Yeah, and they focus their mind, but all together with other people. They learn together. Because every time people ask us like focus, but as a kid, for example, people tell us focus, concentrate, but we don't know how to concentrate, and this actually isolates us from other people. If we would all learn to concentrate together, then actually we would see one another more, and the community could live better together.
What do you mean by that? How do we concentrate together in a yoga class or elsewhere?
Well, just having like one direction, one drishti. I mean, it's just like sitting and listening to a teacher and taking the time to listen, taking the time to ask questions, taking the time to explore different shapes, different moves, different types of breaths, different like types of sensations. I think just taking that time, it is concentrating not only for ourselves, but it's really concentrating for the bigger self, and the bigger self is made of all of the people around us. So to me, really, like, it's very important that when we practice is not only something that we do at home for ourselves. Okay, that's nice. But it's also like, how can we ripple that to like some other people? Can we like motivate them. And like, you know, in Sanskrit, we use satsang all the time. Satsang, when there's a goal and everybody is going towards that goal at the same time. Like, it's motivating to be with other people and going towards the same goal. Having the same goal is having the same drishti. Having the same drishti is focusing together.
Okay, well said. I love that. And, you know, that hits the nail on the head in terms of the main reason why I go to yoga classes. I love to be immersed in that collective energy. And I think a lot of that comes from just a collective agreement that we're all in here and we're all practicing. We're all spending time to work on ourselves. And as you said so eloquently, you know, our self is actually not just the individual. It's that thing that connects all of us. But it also comes from...
that feels great.
Yeah, it feels amazing. And I think another part of it is the fact that we actually move and breathe in synchrony. You know, we're synchronized in the actions that we take. So that's super powerful.
It is very powerful.
Talk to me a little bit about the way that you're using your music in your classes and how that fits into the collective consciousness.
Yeah, that's actually a big part in everything that I teach. So what I find very interesting, you know, is that we attract people using, of course, the poses are a great way to attract people to our workshops, and the way we move and stuff like that. That is great. But it's cool because within my intensives or my trainings, most of the time what people like end up telling me at the end in the feedbacks is that that was an amazing training, and my highlight was actually to sing. Like, I was just, before coming back to Paris yesterday, I was still in Switzerland where I was teaching an intensive, and at the end there's one girl that came to me and she told me, you know what, it was incredible because normally I'm ashamed of singing. I'm ashamed. I don't feel comfortable with that. Whenever a teacher says, now let's chant mantra, I just don't want to sing. But with you, I don't know, I enjoyed it so much and I had fun. And we had it was just light, and I had such a great time just singing. And even though I sing not beautifully, I didn't care. I think that is very powerful. So whenever I teach, if it's an intensive, after lunch, we always sing. We're having a little a mini kirtan, and it's very, very childish in a way, but it's so nice. It's so nice, and you see people sometimes have tears when it's actually, and it's so simple. You know, it is so simple. It's just a human moment.
Do you have a favorite mantra or song that you like to lead a chant?
I love, I really love the Maha Mantra, the Hare Krishna mantra. It's so beautiful. It's so powerful. I cannot even explain how, I don't even understand how this mantra just works, but it's just every time we chant it with a group, it's always very special and magic. So you see which one it is?
I know it. Yeah, I know the Hare Krishna mantra. That's a good one.
Of course, yeah. It's a very good one. Very beautiful one. Yeah.
Okay, so what else do you have slated for the horizon that you'd like to share with us?
So I'm soon actually going to Bali to teach a 200 hour, but I have some other trainings coming up. So I have a 300 hour coming up in January, beginning of next year. It was supposed to be a 200 hour actually, but we changed it to a 300 hour because I'm going to be a dad. My love is actually expecting our baby. So Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm super
That's something
excited.
exciting on the horizon.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. I didn't expect it as well. She did not as well, but we're very happy.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah,
That's major.
It's gonna be major. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's supposed to be a girl. We never know. They said 70%, so we'll see.
Okay.
But yeah, before she arrives, we will teach in Thailand, in Koh Samui at Vikasa, a little retreat, like beginning of January, and then the 300-hour that I'm teaching in Thailand as well, at the same place. So Ashton, my partner, is probably gonna stay a little bit, and then she's gonna fly back to the US because she's from Michigan. Yeah, so that's it. That's it. And those are the projects for next year. I'm very, very excited. Very excited. I just feel so lucky with everything that happens in my life. You know, in the sutra, we said that the yogi that respects satya, the truthfulness, like as best as possible. Actually, everything he thinks or says happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, yoga conference happened, the yoga studio happened, the 200, the 300, everything is happening. The baby is happening. So yeah, be careful what what you think
Careful what you speak into existence.
Definitely, because it becomes your destiny.
Absolutely. We didn't really talk about your studio. I'd love to get your thoughts on that too, because that's a huge undertaking as well to create a yoga studio business. And I'm sure that it's paved the way for a lot of these other things that are now taking shape. So what's the story on Lomi, and why did you have the inclination, and why did you move forward with the idea to create it?
So actually, so I'm a co-owner in Lome Yoga, this studio, like in the 7th in Paris. This is a very great area actually for a yoga studio. The other person I'm working with, she actually is a very stressful woman who had a business, who still has a business, another business that was not making her super happy. It was challenging. And yeah, she's a super strong woman. She came one day to take one of my retreats. And I remember her having like the cigarette in her hands, and she was like, I was like, who's that woman? Like, and then she was like, oh, you're the yoga teacher who, okay, yeah, see you later. And she was not so nice actually at first sight. And she became a student that followed me for a little while. And then one day she told me, listen, you need a place to teach yoga. You need a yoga studio. Have you ever thought of that? And I said, yeah, I thought about it, but I don't think I can do that right now because I'm traveling. And she actually found a place, and she said to me, Mathieu, I found a place. So later on, and she said, whenever you want, I will give you half of it. This will be your studio. And she gave me half of the yoga studio like that. So yeah, it's crazy because everything in my life kind of happened like that. Just things come to me, like even the teacher trainings I've done all the times, like it's beautiful things happen from it. So I just end up with that studio, basically. It was a gift from the universe.
To what degree do you think that your attraction of these blessings, of these gifts, to what degree do you think that is chance? And to what degree do you think it is a matter of your perspective and your receptivity?
I believe it's not at all chance. I'm a very lucky guy for sure, but I really believe it happened because I mean I'm able to deal with it. This is, I think, why it's happening. So because the yoga studio is still lots of karma yoga and lots of love. Like, I mean, every time I'm teaching, I've been teaching now. I think after 2 years, I start to like I taught teacher training recently, and it's the first time I paid myself a little bit on it. But I taught so many trainings and classes for free there. I wanted it to become actually a donation studio base, the very first donation studio base in Paris. But with the French laws here, it's super complicated, and with the taxes here, it's actually way more than in lots of other countries. So this didn't work very well. So we had to put real prices, and actually, since we put real prices, it works, which is kind of weird, but why not? But everything happened, I think, because I can handle it. So I really believe if you cultivate a positive attitude towards anything and everything, and you put like your concentration in everything that you do, take every opportunity that you have, and do the best that you can at any point of time, then things starts to like get into your favor all the time, you know. And there's nothing negative, because even in obstacles you see the benefits of the obstacles. So nothing stops you anymore. I guess that's why things happen. I don't know. What about you? Like you're
That's
doing
beautiful.
pretty well too. Like, I mean, everything is
Thanks.
is going pretty well. So.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you that it's a matter. That's kind of why I asked you and phrased it in the way that I did. To what degree do you think it's a matter of perspective? Because as you said, I do think that it's kind of a choice, you know, to look at the things that land in your way. And of course, you know, people come into life and come into their trajectories with different levels of privilege and obstacles, but you always have the ability to look at what's in front of you and see it as this is the odds stacked against me, or this is an opportunity to learn.
Yeah, totally. For me, it's always an opportunity to learn. Yeah, it's like there's never something negative. It's very challenging for me to not to allow actually negativity to take me. I'm always constantly fighting that. Like, if I have a negative thought, I replace it right away. I try to find a positive. I guess it comes from my dad. He would tell me all the time. It's funny because I was playing basketball when I was a kid, and he would tell me, "Look at the American people; they're always positive on the." I don't know if that's true, but he would tell me all the time, like, "Yeah, stay positive, stay positive. That's the key for everything." So I would always try to find positivity in everything that I would do, even when even when I lost my voice, even when I end up like sometimes not having money, and because I did like 10 different teacher trainings. I wanted to go to all like different masters that inspired me, you know, and I put everything that I had into those stuff, because I was just like, okay, this is what I want to do. So I will, whatever happened, I'll be fine. I'm just gonna do what I want to do, and that's what I want to do. Mm-hmm. So nothing would stop me. Nothing would be an obstacle. And even when I lost the voice, I was like, okay, I lost my voice. It's happening for something. I have to do something. And then the yoga came. So yeah, I really believe it's just a matter of perspective. Everything we do, we just have to choose our point of view to see things positively.
That's right. Negativity is a temptress that doesn't let you go, but we have the ability to choose. We do.
Definitely. Yeah.
Apart from getting your message out on the podcast, what are you doing today to live your Dharma?
Well, I'm actually moving out from my place in Paris. I had an apartment. I was thinking that could be the place we would live at. But my partner actually loves nature, and she wants to go back to Michigan to give birth. So I've taken a house in Michigan, and I'm leaving the apartment in Paris. So I don't know what is gonna be the future apart from that we're gonna have the baby there and stuff like that. I'm still gonna be traveling. So for me, you see, to live my Dharma, I just keep following whatever life sent me, and I trust that it's gonna work. That is the Dharma. And yeah, and for the yoga teaching, I just feel the most important thing for me is to share. And yeah, that's it. We're in a time when the earth is in a pretty interesting phase. Like, everything is getting really dark, and this planet is getting into a place where where things are not going to be so comfortable anymore very soon for human beings. So I just feel the only thing we can do, and what probably is our Dharma as teacher, is just to share, and that's all we can do.
Well, with that being said, I think we can move on to the final section of our interview, which is the prana round. So we're going to pick up the pace a little bit here. I'm going to ask you 6 rapid fire questions.
Oh, wow.
And you can answer minimum 1 word, maximum 1 sentence. Okay, Mathieu?
Minimum 1 word, maximum 1 sentence. Okay.
That's right. In 1 word, why do you practice yoga?
Love.
Okay, what's your favorite yoga pose and why?
Mayurasana. It gets my belly work well.
The peacock. Okay,
Peacock pose.
What is the single best cue or piece of advice you've ever received from a yoga teacher?
What goes in goes up. What goes out goes
What
down.
goes in? What goes in goes up. You say it again. Say it again.
What goes in goes up. What goes out goes down.
Okay. Recommend 1 book, modern or ancient, for our audience.
I mean, like Patanjali Yoga Sutras.
Classic. Okay. Yeah. Is yoga for everyone?
I don't believe so. But I wish.
Care to expand or leave it at that?
To expand?
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, yeah, yoga is challenging. It is challenging. So I don't think everybody can practice yoga. I think everybody can do yoga, but if anybody can be yogic, I don't know, because it's so much dedication. You know, there's really a difference between, like, okay, doing the practice, but becoming the practice and being yogic like 24 hours a day, and even like in your sleep, like being aware, like constantly. I think it's challenging. It's pretty advanced, no?
It's very advanced. I'll give you that. I appreciate that answer. All right. Our last question for you. How can our audience get in touch with you, and how can we support you in your Dharma?
Well, they can come to the next yoga conference in 2020, because I'm putting all my money into it. It's because I just believe in it. I'm just like, this is gonna work. It's gonna be great. Never, like, nobody has done that in Paris, because Paris is too expensive and there are so many rules and regulations. You know, like, it's an obstacle on the path of yoga, rules and regulations. If they're like, if it's too many. So like,
same thing that kept you from opening a donation studio.
Yeah, you see, this is crazy. But yeah, no, they should definitely come. And also, like, if they want to support me, they just well, they just check the website and come to any event that I share. And also like, yeah, they share what they learn. Like I always encourage people that come to me, like, to whatever they learn, share it as much as they can.
I know everyone has Google and can find you online, but what is the address for your website where they can learn about the conference and everything else that you have coming up?
Sure. So for the conference, it's parisyogaconference.com. And for my website, it's mathieuboldron.com. So Mathieu Boldron, I know like sometimes for American or English people, it's hard to like spell, but it's,
but don't you worry.
Mathieu.
Yeah, we got you covered. It'll be in the show notes for the episode, so they can just give it a tap and not have to worry about spelling or interpreting your beautiful French accent.
Thank you.
Well, Mathieu, it's been so nice to catch up with you here, and I hope that we get to continue this conversation soon in person, whether that's in Michigan in your new home or at the Paris Yoga Conference.
Yes, that would be amazing.
All right. Have a beautiful day and take care. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Yeah, it's going to be a great night. See you. Bye-bye.
Dharma Talkers, I hope you enjoyed listening to that conversation as much as I enjoyed having it. And if you did, please share it. Take a screenshot, share it on Instagram, and tag me @HenryWins. I love hearing from you about the conversations that make an impact for you. We have the ability to shape the world through our thoughts, words, and conversation. So let's influence the collective consciousness together. All my gratitude to Rory Wagstaff of Ease of Mind Productions for keeping our audio crisp and operations smooth, and to Patrick Kiebzak of Momentology Music and Art for supplying the powerful soundtrack to these conversations. Please remember to subscribe, rate, and review, and tune in to new episodes of Dharma Talk every Thursday. I'll speak to you next week, and until then, keep living your Dharma.